It's the Paris Chong Show.
And since you brought that up, we have a really cool happy story to tell. That's one of my favorite Cheriss May stories about the time that you were gifted to photograph Maya Angelou.
Yeah, very happy story. So I was photographing Maya Angelou during her the unveiling of her portrait at the National Portrait Gallery, and this was in the last days for Maya Angelou because she soon after, I think like a week later, passed.
It was meant to be.
It was really close. So growing up, I read her work. I admired her. And so to have the opportunity, like, I still get goosebumps talking about it. So before she came, I'm back in the green room with another photographer and a male photographer. And I was the only woman photographer. And her people came to us and said, she's sick at this time. So she's in a wheelchair and she's traveling with an oxygen tank. So she has the oxygen in her nose. And the only thing that she asked is respectfully that you don't take pictures of her with the oxygen in her nose because she doesn't want to be remembered that way. So I actually was the house photographer that day. And they bring her in, and I just remember she's in the wheelchair. Excuse me. And her back is to us. And her head is kind of hanging down low, so hadn't made eye contact or anything. And as soon as she comes in the room, the other photographer is doing like a fashion shoot.
Oh, God.
Just like high speed,
After
taking these
hearing
pictures.
not to do that.
Yeah, and I'm like, and she has the oxygen in her nose, and I'm like, ooh. So the sister girl in me, excuse me, the sister girl in me connected with the sister girl in her, and I knew that he was going to get it. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to have to leave the room.
Yeah.
I heard stories about, if you made her upset, like,
out.
Yeah. And so I didn't want that. I wanted to have a chance to talk to her. So I do that if anyone has seen that episode of The Simpsons where Homer takes the steps back and disappears into the bushes. I did the Homer Simpson. I disappeared into the bushes, and then I just like stood there quietly with my camera down as the photographer is still firing away. So they turn her chair around. She's facing us now. She lifts her head. Enough. And I was like, oh, crap. And they come up to him, and they're like, sir, you got to go.
Goodbye.
You got to go. And so they usher him out of the room. I'm still in the bushes, like quiet, because I'm like, let me just wait for everything to settle and the mood to change so that I'll be free to, go say hello. And so I just waited there until I felt a release, like, the air had changed and I could, like, go over to her. As soon as I thought that, she looked over at me and she was like, baby, what's your name? And so I walked towards her and she grabs my hand and we're holding hands. And I said, Dr. Angelou, my name is Cheriss May. And it is my honor and my pleasure to meet you. And she said, it is my honor and my pleasure to meet you, Cheriss May. And then she threw her head back and started laughing. So then I'm laughing. I said, may I take your portrait? Yes, you may. And she takes the oxygen out of her nose. And I, took these photos of her. And so we had our moment. Okay, so I'm like, my day is complete.
That's
like,
a good moment, Cheriss.
Yeah. And so after that, some other people came, Oprah, Gail, King, different people coming back
just
to.
A bunch of nobody. Just a bunch of nobody showed up after that.
Yeah, just saying hello. So I'm just snapping away, in the moment, documenting that. And so then she had a conversation with Dr. Janetta Cole, who at the time was the director of the Smithsonian African Art Museum. Excuse me, I'll take a drink.
Please do. We need a top up, guys.
I remember she had a Q&A with Dr. Cole, and then it was her birthday. We went back to the African Art Museum and celebrated her birthday. So they
How
had
old was she that year?
Oh my God, I have to look back. I'm not even sure.
She probably lied. She probably pulled a woman age on you.
Yeah, I'm not even sure, but they had a cake and it had this bird cage with a bird with notes and said, "I know why the cage bird sings." I mean, it was just like perfect. Her son was there. So we went back to the African Art Museum. We're celebrating Maya Angelou's birthday. And her son was there. Mm-hmm. Sounded exactly like her, because he's deceased now. But sounded exactly like her.
How's her son deceased? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wait, how?
I think health complications. I mean, he was in the wheelchair at the time.
Oh God, they were both in the wheelchair?
Yeah, they were both in the wheelchair.
Okay.
So I'm on the floor, like below her, with my camera. Mm-hmm. I took some video, in addition to photos, and she's just looking around the room, pointing out different friends and the little kids running around, and she's just happy, and then she starts reciting poetry, and she talks about how it's cloudy for some people and how they're having a hard time, and that she's willing to be a rainbow in somebody's cloud. And so she starts singing, and I don't know how to sing, Paris.
Yeah, you're singing right now. You're singing.
Let me drink this water first.
No, you might want the champagne.
So she just starts singing, and she's like, "When it looks like the sun ain't gonna shine anymore, God put a rainbow in the cloud." And so she sings that, and she said, "You have to make the decision whether you're want to be a rainbow in someone's cloud." She's like, "I'm willing to be a rainbow in somebody's cloud." And I'm just sitting here like goosebumps.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe I'm here in this moment. I have goosebumps now, still talking about the story. So yeah, that was my Maya Angelou, I would say moment, but moments, that I'll never forget.
It's the Paris Chong Show.